Urban legends, those stories that are passed along word of mouth, told around a campfire or in a school hallway. They always seem to have similar elements, but the origins are always a little dubious. But you know it definitely happened to your friend's cousin's mailman's dog walker. Folk tales are nothing new. They can be cautionary, like the legend of the Wendigo, the ravenous man-eating creature born out of cannibalistic desperation, or to instill values, like that of the butterfly lady, a spirit that captures lie-telling children and sews their mouths shut. Try that one, Coco Melon. Just admit to the cookie, Johnny. Just admit to the— oh God, Johnny, no! One urban legend that you've likely heard of is that of the windowless white van kidnapping children by luring them with candy. The friendly guy will drive up, offer the kids a bag of pancreatic poison just for the kid's face to end up on a milk carton. Do they even still do that? God, I'm good with outdated references. Well, this tale undoubtedly has several sources. The idea of a man luring children with candy has existed as long as kids, candy, and predators have gone. One story that wraps all those elements into one gross package is that of Dean Corll. Dean Corll was a predator in the 1970s who worked at his family's candy factory in Houston, Texas. Corll, along with his two teenage henchmen, Wayne Henley and David Brooks, was implicated in a series of abductions and murders that horrified the community. It was believed that this trio was responsible for as many as 28 murders. Corll's actions involved deceiving young boys by hosting parties and luring teens with drugs and the promise of a good time, many of whom he'd been grooming for years at the candy factory that was directly across from the school. He would then target one and torture them in sadistic and gross ways. Glass rods and a homemade rack were commonly used. Kind of an interesting twist on the true crime story, Corll met his end not by getting caught by the police or the justice system, but at the barrel of a gun by one of his own henchmen, who then revealed the horrific crimes to the police. So, needless to say, just buy your own candy, or if you're an adult, you know, they do have the recreational marijuana stores now. Just do that. Another absolute classic is that of the mental patient roaming the woods and killing children. The most famous version of this story is probably Cropsey, which he too has a real-world counterpart, though he wasn't a patient. Born to a woman at Pilgrim Psychiatric Hospital, Frayne Russian, who would later change his name to Andre Rand, spent most of his life interacting with the mental health system. A regular visitor to his mother at the hospital, he eventually got a job as a janitor at the notorious Willowbrook School, an institution whose patient conditions were so horrific that it caused a complete overhaul of the mental health care system in America. After serving time for the abduction and assault on a 9-year-old girl, he adopted the name Andre, legally changing it and racked up bookings for a series of petty crimes. He was suspected of several abductions and murders. He was finally arrested for false imprisonment by kidnapping a group of 11 children in a school bus and taking them to Staten Island to feed them lunch without the consent of their parents. He was subsequently charged in the disappearance and murder of an 11-year-old girl. Listen, if you know a guy who owns a school bus, maybe keep an eye on him. Check around his basement a little bit. Unless, of course, it has a sick-ass dragon painted on the side of it, because we all know that is the international sign for not gonna fuck with kids, is a big-ass dragon on the side of it. And not to be crude, but you gotta respect the ingenuity. He's shopping in bulk. The backrooms have become a notable phenomenon within the realm of creepypasta, originating from a short video that showcased a seemingly ordinary yet unsettling liminal space. The unusual setting has captured the imagination of greasy internet nerds, myself included, giving rise to an explosion of interest surrounding the concept. Fans of the backrooms have contributed fanfics, images, and interpretations, turning it into a shared experience within the eerie and surreal landscape of internet horror. The idea, while not directly taken, is reminiscent of the confusing and seemingly harmless appearance of the castle of H.H. Holmes. The idea of getting lost, never to be seen again, was the fate of several women during the World's Fair in Chicago. Wandering endless hallways with dead ends both invoke a sense of dread and uncertainty that lends itself well to the staying power and popularity of the lore. That's why I recommend Travelodge. You may see a hooker, and your room might smell like meth and booty stank, but you'll never die locked in a safe. Speaking of hotels, they have lamps. Lamps have shades. Lampshades made of skin! Terrible segue achieved. The idea of a maniac turning another person to a lampshade is a warning given kinda tongue-in-cheek when somebody seems very creepy. And while maniacs have definitely done that, Australian killer Catherine Knight draped her boyfriend's skin across the windows like curtains, the OG human remains artisan is Ed Gein. The inspiration for characters like Leatherface, Norman Bates, and Buffalo Bill, the soft-spoken ghoul of Wisconsin, Gein was an isolated and psychologically abused schizophrenic, responsible for at least 2, probably 3, murders. He was best known for using corpses from the local graveyard to create what we'll call macabre crafts. His home was discovered to be filled with multiple sets of remains, including a belt made from human nipples and a torso made into a vest. In recent years, with the boom of true crime and/or re-examining of mental health, Gein has become somewhat of a pop figure, still inspiring a strange and morbid curiosity to this day. So much of our history is hidden in plain sight. Details added as it's passed along, and turned into cliches and tropes in entertainment. It has to make you wonder what kind of urban legends are going to pop up from our history, based on crimes and events from our era. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please remember to like, smack around that subscribe button, and click it right in the bells. And until next time, toodaloo.